I have a YouTube video, or I was trying to make a YouTube video trying to explain this edit, but maybe it's better on stream because you guys can actually ask me questions. So let's just look at the first scene, dude. So look at all the nodes. So I have my scenes here, right? And this is not your regular fusion composition. I took two clips to the footage. There's no compound clips. I put this clip and this clip on top of each other, extended it to the maximum length it could be, and then put them on top of each other, right click, and then new fusion comp. And so if I go into that fusion composition, it has both scenes on different already here, and I can open up a timeline and it has these two scenes here. So that's the coolest part of the fusion composition, and that's what I did here, not here. Anyways, fusion clip. That's the fusion clip. And so then after the clips are here, I put a gradient map. I got this from Reactor, gradient mapper. One of the ones I said in the video. It's very, very cool. You put an image inside it. No. And it takes the luminance values of the image and changes it however you want. So we have the gradient here. I want the black to be like red. It changes it to red. I want the white to be, I don't know what's red and green, pink, like that. There you go. And then you could gradient in between. This is not a very good image, but that's what these are doing. And I just instanced this, so it's the same one. And I put black on the bottom, white in the middle, and then red going out to the middle, and that kind of gives you like nice luminance and red tint to the footage. Then we go to the opacity mask, which is basically a preset I made, which I think I have in Rack, but not Rack, my server. It's just a background with a blank background and a merge, and it connects to here, and then also gets masked here. Basically, you can swap this out for a Mac control, but this is what I use to fix the comp size if it's not fixed already, and then also mask out footage. So you assume you use this a lot, and I'm just masking out a corner, and I'm masking out the other corner like this because when I put them together with transforms, and you can see the image, it's like this. And right now you can see like you can't even see the clips on the screen right now. And if we put into a merge with a different background, so this background is like 4K or over 4K. I put a background to this merge and then stack this clip on top of it, then it shows all the whole scene, and then you have like really nice space to move around. And that's basically like, this is kind of like what AE has. AE has like infinite room to move, and with DaVinci Fusion they like limit your space, which kind of sucks, but that's how you have to compensate for it. So we got a big background, and then this goes to a DVE, which I used for the movement. And this over here, all this is a complicated thing, which I'll go over after. Actually, I'll go over this. Here is the text animation. I have the text, put an SM outline on it. You guys know that one. With the merge, now it's on that big resolution. Merge it up again. Oh, it's merged, and then I use it twice, so I just have the animation here twice, which is elastic animation used with anim curves. Put it on DVEs, position them differently, and then now I have these shadows here, and so you can barely see them, but I did all this crazy stuff in order for the shadows not to overlap in color. What's the SM outline? Is it a filter node? SM outline it basically takes any image you have and you put an outline on it. So if we just SM, this is the old one, but you get it from Smokey. It's in the Neptune video, but you can put a border on whatever has like an alpha on the outside. So that's what this is used for. Align with the filter node, and inside the text node itself. Okay, plugin. It's not a plugin, it's a preset, because it's just so much easier. Everyone wants me to remake it, but like Smokey already did it, and he's keeps on updating it, so there's no point in me remaking it when it's already there. Yeah. Okay, so this part right now it's at 2K, and you can't render stuff at 2K in the free version, so you have to crop it down to 1080 by 1080, and that is fine because I have all this stuff smushed into the corner on this scene, and so we just crop it down so it gets to the scene that you want. And then here I have a background. Hello, okay, I have a background, very easy gradient background, dark on the right side, light on the left. I put a filter on it. It just has a little grain because I like the little grain that's on the gradients. It makes it look better. I put the brightness down a little bit to match it better. Then I have this N-Gon grid, which I think I put it in the free PeeJ pack when it comes out, but it's just dots that are repeating with controls. Mask that into a background with white, transformed it so it's scaled it up so it's bigger, and then put that on the same DVE that's going here, because all the DVEs have the same animation. It's just that whole thing, which I guess I could have like put it on the same plane, but you won't get that little bit of parallax that I do with the movement. And this is getting put into a merge, which is being masked. This foreground's being masked by this fast noise. So this fast noise is taking away, you see how it's dark here, and then it's taking away some of the pixels, so it gives a little bit more variance to the brightness and the texture of the dots. And that's being merged behind all this animation. And then I have believe it's a zoom out from the beginning to add a little bit more movement. How do you know from which to which and from where to where does the effect go? All working. Go work and work. It's confusing. Well, when you're making it, you know where everything is. That's why when I'm explaining it, it's a little bit more confusing. But it's basically just merging all this stuff on top of each other. Like you see, I have all these elements isolated, right? Just break it down. There's all these elements isolated. I add an animation to it. I add a shadow to it. Well, I can also reposition it where it needs to be, and add it to the main comp, which is just merging it on top, and then doing whatever you need. What else you need? So like, this is the background, and to make it look better, I just made it 3D-ish, or just use the DVE because that's what the DVE does. Maybe I didn't go over that more specifically, but yeah, your creativity and robot. No, it's not. It's just learning the process. How did you memorize what every node does? Is there like a website or something? Memorize? Well, I just used it. I have over like 100 edits, so it's more just gaining experience and knowing what it does. Like, where you start out with the transforms, and then you do a little bit of masking, then you mess around, and I've gone through every node, just like gone through it, put it in, connected it to media, and see what it does. Like, you can do that too, which I do suggest is very good. So merge is like the main thing. You connect everything so effects run through it. Yes, exactly. So you know how like here we work with layers. Like, okay, you can see that this clip is below this one, so this clip should be on top, which it is. And that's basically what the merges are. The green input is the top and the yellow input's the bottom. So I put this part on this, all this stuff that's here, all this stuff that is shown here on top of this part, because on the green is the yellow part, the background. So that's why I put it. That's why I put it there. What does the DVE node do exactly? So DVE node is 3D without 3D. So we take text, right? We view it, and then you have all these controls, right? You have your regular movement, like on a transform. You have your Z movement, which is basically your zoom, but it's actually moving it in this little 3D space that it created, which is not really 3D. It's like it's a bunch of calculations that make it look like 3D. But then you have this rotation like this, and that gives you that three-dimensional. You probably zoom it up. That gives you that three-dimensional rotation. Oh, that doesn't. See, like if you're too close, it doesn't work. That's what I was arguing earlier. But That's how this works. It's, and you can keyframe it or whatever. That's looking like a sniper rifle. Oh god. That's pretty funny. It does look like a sniper rifle. So it's more straightforward than using a plain 3D render. Yes, it basically combines all that stuff, but you can only use it for one scene, and then you have to keep merging it on top of each other, and then you have to try and match the perspectives or whatever. That's why I just like use the Dve Node, and I literally just copied it and pasted the same animation over and over on all these nodes. I can technically put it on together, but when you have it like this, I was able to move the Z pivot, and the Z pivot is kind of like the depth of how far it moves. So this one's at negative 0.47, this one's at 0, this one's going to be at 0 too, because you can't go higher than 0, higher than 0. This one's further back. See, this is almost at 1, and that's just the background. And so the further back it is, the slower it moves. And I also made it bigger, so it looks like it's a little slower. And that's just how the movement works. All right, the second scene. This is kind of going in. You got this good in only a year and a half. I'm addicted. I literally dream in nodes. Here, I'll show you. This is the second one. This only. I only have 3 scenes here, and this is all this stuff. Okay, I'll try and explain this one. This one's a little tough. So for the transition, you see I have this this wipe. It's a 3U wiping. It's not there, but it's wiping over the previous scene because this is all transparent. It's even transparent there, and then it's revealing the new scene. This is a bit more complicated because okay, so I have my 3DU. I have a tutorial on that. That one's easy. Just make it 3D. Put a border on the side, and then what I did is I used a Trails node. So what does a Trails node do? It is the most complicated and frustrating node to work with. So you start. What it does, it creates a trail behind the whatever's moving. And the way I use this is I used it as a mask. So let me just reset this again. Right now, this is, you're looking at the previous scene, and then I use it as a mask to wipe over the next scene. And then I think I rotated it, so it's thicker, but then I wrote dilate. And so it covers the whole screen, and it's white the whole time. So it reveals this scene, because this is basically a mask for the whole scene. We're using this opacity mask that I went over before. So then I have just the scene that is here, which is even more disorganized. So where do I even start? Okay, media is the guy doing this. I have it going to 3 different sections. This one is just masking him out, and I believe this is the part where I put a what do you do? What's it called? And the Neptune thing, BCC pin art. See, you see the things that little pop out, like little circles. I probably should do a tutorial on this, but like mine's scuffed and it's not the right way, so I don't know if it's correct if I should do a tutorial. But this is what Neptune does: it's little circles that pop out, like a ghost zoom, but it pops out like that. This is like my first successful attempt at doing this. So I have him masked out, right? I put a transform on it, so now he's moving. And this is the animation for is the animation for the ghost zoom, which is here. This is merged underneath it, so it has the whole scene. And it looks like it's popping out. Easy. Next is the text. So this is hidden behind everything, because I put a different version of him with this. This is covering all the effects that are here. This is the text animation. Text transforms. I have these transforms animated out over the scene. That should be easy enough. Put the SM outline on it, merged it, and now we have this. This is everything in the background. And I put it on from the foreground, but it's being masked out by this polygon, so it's technically in the back. we have this, and then now this is the particles, I believe. Chroma key. This is a different way of masking. I should have just did it this way, but this is I masked out or chroma keyed his skin, put it as a mask for regular. You don't really need to do that, but that's easy for me. Eroded it so it gets rid of like the little, I don't know, it just gives that little animation kind of thing. And then I used a mask of the n-gons, which are being animated as well. And then I also displaced it so it looks a little different. Brightness and contrast, merge that on top. That one probably didn't make as much sense. I'll probably go over it again if you ask, but connected to the main movement of the scene. And then I also have a defocus, which hides it until I want it to reveal, because a lot of ugly stuff that's happening before. Merge that underneath the mask that I went over. Then it's on a shadow, and then here, shadow is for this part. And then I fusion pre-comped it, which is, there's a tutorial for Smokey, but it's basically, I rendered this sequence out because it's laggy and the trails messes up a lot, and I reloaded it back in, and I used the Lumicure to get rid of this, and then now you have that full animation, and it's also running smoothly. So this is the next scene. A lot of other stuff. I'll go over one by one, hopefully. All right, this is the final scene on the left, and then this is what I'm showing you on the right. So I have this picture Ruka. I transformed her down, put an opacity mask so it fixes her into a 920 by 1080 composition. I have a transform node that shows her animation like this. You can see the animations here. I also have another transform to move her across to the left side of the screen, because before she does this animation, she stays in the place. She's on the screen still. This one pushes her a little bit more. It's also following a different thing. And this is connected to a trails as well. And this one's a little bit worse, but using a bitmap, you can make it so all that transparent part shows up as solid, as it says here. And this is masking out the whole scene again, as seen over here. This just goes into a background, which is this. Alright, so this one's connected. This is a random background connected to the text animation that I put. This is the same animation here, so it moves along with her. This is repositioning the text, and then this is the whole text animation. So I just went through each one. So that's just a elastic bounce. This one is a swing up from the this is a follower text animation. This one is a swing up from the left side and has elastic shake. This one is just, I think it slides up and also elastic. SM outline, fit the theme, and then it's transformed, merged on top of everything, and back onto the scene. Like that. Alright, so now is this monstrosity. Everything looks like weapons. It does. What does this look like? It's more like a dolphin, man. Okay. This is the main scene. This is the main scene that's the background of everything. So I first masked out Cheezer because I have her here, and then I made a duplicate of her, put an edge detect, put a bitmap. I think it's more unnecessary. Put in a road dilate to make it thicker, put a glow on it, and then you can actually connect that mask to the footage and it shows up like this, and the black part goes away. So that is that, and put it on, this is on the background, and I have another masked version of her that goes on top. So yeah, I have something like that. I also put at the end, here it gets darker, so you can see this better with a brightness and contrast. It goes like that. The animation for her goes off to the side. I think I animated on the merge because you can do that. So now you have that scene. This is random text, wifey, soft glow. The same animation that's on the slide that's over here. And reposition. Actually, that one's just, no, yeah, that's reposition. Shadow, so you can see it a little better. Put it back on top of the footage. And now you have this monstrosity. This is for this part. So you see how like this curtain repeats like the whole time? That's not in the footage. You can see this is where the curtain cuts off, but I have way more curtain than I need. So the way I did it is I used mirrored edges to repeat this. So you have a canvas and then you move it over with mirrored edges. Then you move the canvas again. This is on the new, I put an old transform, then a new transform, mirrored that, moved it to the left, or moved to the right. And so there's more curtains. I think I did it again. So now it's just full of curtains. The whole scene is just curtains. And then now I put the same animation that's for here, because this is the animation that's controlling everything from here, instance, and that's the background was there. Then this is the zoom out animation. This is the zoom out as in like this little bob compared to it's stuck here. Then this is the zoom out at the very end, and this is all merged back together. And because it's zoomed in a little bit at the end, like right here or somewhere, you can't actually, this is on the zoom out, you can't see that little mirrored edges that's there because it looks ugly, but that's merged behind the text animation, masked out, and then I put a little keyframe displace in, so it gives that little rounded, and then I get rid of the displace after. This just makes the text look a little bit bigger. It's that look, that decky look. And then I will zoom out, and then I also fusion pre-comped it again because of this trail mask, and because it's very intensive. And I also put a luma key here again, because that's how you get rid of this black. If I didn't do it, it'd just be black over here. Luma keyed, now it's there. Media out. That's the full scene. And this is only 4 seconds, guys. Not even. Last thing on the edit page, before I look at chat and answer questions again. This is a little warp I put at the end. This is exposure. This is exposure also. Exposure and a blur. And then I have one of my preset CCs that I made. I don't even play sharp on anymore. Okay. And give me questions now. Do you know every single node in DaVinci? I actually learned a new node today. It's a texture node. It's kind of dope. But I would say like 80%, maybe. Can you show the spline graph for that? For which part, please? British assault rifle? Oh, maybe. So about the fusion pre-comping thing, you said Smokey has a video on it? Yes, I will get to that after I'll show the spline. How'd you learn to edit? Myself. There's no other AMV tutorial people. Looked up a bunch of YouTube tutorials and see what I needed for myself. And then I started making tutorials too, so you guys have an easier time. When you plan these edits, do you sketch out beforehand the entire thing roughly before you begin and then shit in Fusion? Yes and no. My planning, to the extent, is the clips. As long as I have the clips down, then I could just start playing around with effects and then make something that looks good. Sometimes with these overlapping transitions, I have to plan it out beforehand. It's like, okay, I'm going to do a singer transition. I'm also going to do another singer transition. So that's a little bit more planning in head. But after that, it's more like, oh, what do I want to do? Oh, I want to do this text animation. So do I have enough time to do this? Yes. Okay, let me do that. When you plan the, you said that. 4 seconds of a clip and the 4th editor time. Yep. Editor life. All of it, all this line. Well, like there's so much. Like you gotta be a little bit more specific. This is the focus, which is not even spline. Okay, this is probably more intensive. Okay, this is the what? transform 12. This is the main animation for everything. So I don't have it slide. There's a slide. The slide is for from a different transform, but this is when it starts to move. I don't like your girlfriend. That's what it said, right? Let me do this and then do this, do this. Okay. So what I do? I keyframed the position of where I want everything. So I started out like this. Then I keyframed on each marker, because this is each beat, where I want the text animation to end up. Say, I don't like your girlfriend, girl, and there's another beat that's here, you can see, and then it's a different transform that does that. But the main thing is, this is my spline trick. Every time there's a beat, like I don't put that keyframe on the beat. I move it over so the steepest part of the spline is on the beat, because when you do a transition, right, you do the ease out curve, and you have your beat that's here, and that the steepest part of your spline should always be on the beat hit, and that's how you sync it well. A lot of people, they put it on the keyframe and then do like a big sharp spline. That does not look smooth. That's why I do this, and this is how I get my smooth graphs. Also, when you see, even though like this is a very steep spline, it's not that steep considered compared to other things, so that's why it looks smoother, even though it's just quick. Is you can kind of like see like, oh, the frame is there for every point. How'd you make the text fade in? Okay, yeah. Each text, there is, go into shading. Is that not doing what I do? Okay, yeah. So for each text where I want the beat is, I go back and it's just about where the beat is hit, or it's just before, like, I think this is a frame before, 2 frames before the beat is hit. I keyframe it to 0, and then like 3 frames after the beat, it's fully there. And so I literally just keyframe the opacity. So, but yeah, you go to the text, you go to shading, and then opacity, and then keyframe that wherever. I feel like that's a trick. How do you make the text bouncy? Okay. Which one has it? This one? No, this one? Alright, the same process. Okay. Actually, this one has it. Kind of. So, my tutorial on anim curves, that's how you get the elastic curve. That's here. So if I click this node, go to modifiers, because this is a modified parameter, because it's moving up and down in an elastic motion. Go to modifiers, and what I did, I'm going to do my shake tutorial, is that I use the elastic curve, but I use the duration and to make it shake for the whole clip. But what you can actually do is, if you hit custom, you can go to the input, you can keyframe how long you want it to last. So the start of the animation is at 0 at the input, and then the end of the animation is 1. And so I just have an elastic animation that's in between here, and the curve is easing, elastic out. That's why it does the shake like that. If I can even show you the spline graph. No, not like that. That one. This is where the elastic curve is. And then the scaling is how it's measured. So we want it to end up at 1 or 0, 1, because that's the elevated position. So you start off at a negative 0.5, and you go up by 0.4 of a scale. So you end up at negative 0.1. Yeah, and I guess that's where I positioned it. Is SM Outline an external plugin? It's not. Okay, it's not a plugin, it's a preset. So Smokey made it. I said I was going to see Smokey. Smokey did two things. So Smokey's goated. So yeah, if you go to the Neptune tutorial, I mentioned this tutorial where he has the SM outline, which is actually supposed to be like for scan lines and a scan line out border, but he did it where this part, it creates like a shadow that you can also expand like that. And this, you get it from him. It's in his media fire. Link that's right here. Go to this video. It's very good. Then you go to it says Fusion. Literally type in Fusion precomping, you'll find it. But it's here somewhere. Precomp. And it's basically a loader and a saver node. That's what these are called. Go watch this too. And this is how that's how I did the precomps. See, it says like literally pre-rendering in the Fusion page, then takes that animation, loads it back into the program with that, and then you could add whatever more effects